All right, Tommy, it's starting to feel like we're getting closer to some semblance of normalcy and resuming a CPL season, but it's been a busy week for Cavalry with the draft coming up on Friday. And then yesterday begin with the biggest news out of Calgary, and that is the announcement that 4 key players of your roster will not be returning next year. Just your initial reaction to life after Dean and Bruno, and obviously Jay and Dom being the biggest one, arguably, of the 4, but just your reaction to life after those 4 key pillars of this club.
It's a circle of life, really. I've got an open relationship with every single one of those lads. I've been fortunate enough to have them, previous to Cavalry with the Foothills championship winning side. And Dom, I've known him since he was 12. Jay, obviously, all his life, and Dino, I think he's been with me about 8 years. Bruno, I think 4 years. So when you're like that, they become sons, or in one of the cases, like a brother. And there comes a time, and especially with these current climate, there's so much uncertainty. Speak on Dom Zator, which obviously is the one that surprises a lot. Is he's a local lad. He's grown up in Calgary. He's had this itch in him to want to play abroad. Aside from sampling the Whitecaps USL side, sorry. He's been brilliant for us, scored some important goals for us, but he's in his prime. And 568 days between the final in 2019 and the potential, 21 first game. That's a lot of games to miss when you're at your prime. So if he doesn't opt for Europe now, when can he? So, we wish him the best of luck. We wanted to keep him, of course, but, when you have a relationship like that, you just have to mutually part ways and hopefully he kicks on elsewhere. With Jay, he's the bravest person I know. Many people, won't know what's gone on behind the scenes and the things he's had to do to make sure he was available to play. He's balanced getting his coaching A license, working full time as an academy director at Foothills. And he played hurt for us many times because it was what the team needed. Never once knocked on my door about playing time or salaries or things like that. He just said, whatever you need. And he probably, if I'd have asked him to, would have stayed on. But I think we have to return the favour for him. He's going to be a phenomenal coach. Mark my words, he will coach in the CPL. And he'll be excellent at it. He's got a bright mind. He's got a warrior spirit. And, it's going to be tough not having him on the pitch because, you can rely on him when the games are tough. But, he'll be behind the scenes trying to develop the next crop of players. In Dino, just similar thing. He's 29. He's played for me for about 8 years in different aspects. And I just think for him, he wanted to move the next part of his life forward. The gap between the seasons never really helps, but it gives people time to reflect about what they want next. And it was time for him. But again, I think, when we're back in the stands and the fans are there, I'm sure Dino will be there with the foot soldiers and his brother and his girlfriend, because he loves the game and he loves the people. And then Bruno, the ultimate utility man. He's got a heart of gold. He's got, again, warrior spirit. And it just came down to, once the rules started changing about having to have a certain amount of under 23 foreigners this year, we had to add 2 more minimum under 21 players this year. It just became a utility spot that we couldn't quite utilize for a good player like him. So it was unfortunate, but we've got to manage the same cap. We've got to manage a bit of movement. But in those guys, they leave shoes to fill. But we've already been working at it. We've had a long off season, so it's not new to us. It is new to the public.
Well, even just mentioning circle of life and you saying that it's not new to you, how much, if at all, do these changes affect how you are going to approach and continue the rest of your off season leading into what we hope is opening weekend around Victoria Day?
Well, I think we always have exit meetings at the end of the season. So our exit meetings happened in September. So we had a pulse check there. We checked in through, October, November. So we had an idea then that these changes were happening. Whilst that was happening, myself, Martin, and Jordan, we just started our recruitment process, and we had a very simple, I think I've mentioned it in many interviews, we look at our retention list and we had our secure the core of key players like Marco, Mason, Elijah's, Nick Ledgerwood's, Sergio Camargo's. These guys are culture creators, but they're impact players as well. So we knew that, I think every CPL team is going to go on this 3-year cycle, especially when you're in a fixed cap league, because some players do deserve a raise in their salary. Some players you've got to be prepared to release before you start your recruiting procedure, which is the 3 hours that we take into account. Once we secured our core, we knew of the changes that were on the horizon. We have already signed a couple of defenders. Tom Field, we knew with Nathan Mavilla. He's a fantastic, same sort of age as Nathan came, but has more professional experience than Nathan had when he came. And we've seen how well Nathan did, with Jordan Brown, with Matthias Roscoff, again, 2 years younger, has got a good professional pedigree. So we had these replacements. We've always got a profile of a player we want, and we've done the same thing with our centre-backs. We'll be announcing this week one of those young centre-backs from the Netherlands is very exciting for us. And then we've got another couple irons in the fire that we think are like-for-like replacements, but will add their own touch to the Cavalry history.